For anybody that actually read through or even skimmed through Project 2025, we knew that Republicans, Christo fascists, these people, the forced birthers, we knew that they were going to come for women's rights. We knew that they were going to come for gay people's rights. We knew that they were going to come for non-white people's rights. We knew that they were coming. And so this does not surprise anybody. So the Supreme Court formally asked to overturn landmark same-sex marriage ruling. So Kim Davis, the woman that was from the Kentucky that wouldn't issue a license to a gay couple, she brought this, but obviously we know that she is backed by people with money. Before I talk about the current news, let's talk about Kim Davis just a little bit. It's wild that she's so extra Christian-y when it comes to other people's marriages, but this woman has been divorced 3 different times before she surrendered her life to the Lord. So she gets to, now that she's all sanctified and saved, she gets to tell other people how they should live their life, or decide that people don't have access to all of the benefits that they were looking for as far as marriage. All right, it says a controversial U.S. court clerk who has cited God's law while refusing to issue same-sex marriage licenses has been married 4 times, it has been revealed. Rowan County Courthouse Clerk Kim Davis has defied a U.S. Supreme Court order demanding that she issue marriage licenses to couples, both gay and straight, at her office in Kentucky. And I am, I've been out of the church for a long time, but aren't Christians, isn't it in their Bible that they're supposed to follow the law of the land? This woman is sitting up here doing her own thing, even though the law of the land said that gay couples can get married. Davis, who was the only elected clerk last fall, has publicly claimed her duty to God overrides the law of the United States. I never imagined a day like this would come where I would be asked to violate a central teaching of the scripture and of Jesus himself regarding marriage. Someone will have to let me know which read words where Jesus said that gay folks couldn't get married. To issue a marriage license which conflicts with God's definition of marriage with my name affixed to the certificate would violate my conscience. But records obtained by the Guardian shows Davis has been divorced 3 times before she surrendered her life to religion, which she said happened 4 years ago. Divorce is rare, according to a website on the Apostolic Christian religion, which Davis follows. I'm not perfect, no one is, but I am forgiven and I love the Lord and I must be obedient. If you must be obedient, like I said, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it says that they're supposed to follow the laws of where they live, right? Someone weigh in. All right, fast forward to now. 10 years after the Supreme Court extended marriage rights to same-sex couples nationwide, the justices this fall will consider for the first time whether to take up a case that explicitly asks them to overturn that decision. Kim Davis, the former Kentucky County Clerk who was jailed for 6 days in 2015 after refusing to issue marriage licenses to a gay couple on religious grounds, is appealing a $100,000 jury verdict for emotional damages plus $260,000 for attorney's fees. In a petition for writ of certiorari filed last month, Davis argues First Amendment protection for free exercise of religion immunizes her from personal liability for the denial of marriage licenses. More fundamentally, she claims the High Court's decision in Obergefell v. Hodges extending marriage rights for same-sex couples under the 14th Amendment's due process protections was egregiously wrong. The mistake must be corrected, wrote Davis's attorney Matthew Staver in a petition. He calls Justice Anthony Kennedy's majority opinion in Obergefell legal fiction. The petition appears to mark the first time since 2015 that the court has been formally asked to overturn the landmark marriage decision. Davis is seen as one of the only Americans currently with legal standing to bring a challenge to the precedent. If there was ever a case of exceptional importance, Staver wrote, the first individual in the Republic's history who was jailed for following her religious convictions regarding the historic definition of marriage, this should be it. Lower courts have dismissed Davis's claims, and most legal experts consider her bid a long shot. A federal appeals court panel concluded earlier this year that the former clerk cannot raise the First Amendment as a defense because she is being held liable for state action, which the First Amendment does not protect. Davis, as the Rowan County clerk in 2015, was the sole authority tasked with issuing marriage licenses on behalf of the government under state law. Not a single judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals showed any interest in Davis's rehearing petition, and we are confident the Supreme Court will likewise agree that Davis's arguments do not merit further attention, said William Powell, attorney for David Ermald and David Moore, the now married Kentucky couple that sued Davis for damages, in a statement to ABC News. A renewed campaign to reverse legal precedent. Davis's appeal to the Supreme Court comes as conservative opponents of marriage rights for same-sex couples pursue a renewed campaign to reverse legal precedent and allow each state to set its own policy. At the time Obergefell was decided in 2015, 35 states had statutory or constitutional bans on same-sex marriages, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures. Only 8 states had enacted laws explicitly allowing the unions. So far in 2025, at least 9 states have either introduced legislation aimed at blocking new marriage licenses for LGBTQ people or passed resolutions urging the Supreme Court to reverse Obergefell at the earliest opportunity, according to the advocacy group Lambda Legal. In June, the Southern Baptist Convention, the nation's largest Protestant Christian denomination, overwhelmingly voted to make overturning laws and court rulings, including Obergefell v. Hodges, that defy God's design for marriage and family, a top priority. And for this reason, these people should get their tax exemption stripped away, because obviously they are doing politics and they get to have tax exemptions, and they really should not have it. Support for equal marriage rights softening. While a strong majority of Americans favor equal marriage rights, support appears to have softened in recent years, according to Gallup. 60% of Americans supported same-sex marriage in 2015, rising to 70% support in 2025, but that level has plateaued since 2020. Among Republicans, support has notably dipped over the past decade, down from 55% in 2021 to 41% this year. Davis's position argues the issue of marriage should be treated the same way the court handled the issue of termination in its 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. She zeroes in on Justice Clarence Thomas's concurrence in that case, in which he explicitly called for revisiting Obergefell. The justices should reconsider all of this court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold, Lawrence, and Obergefell, Thomas wrote at the time, referring to landmark decisions dealing with the fundamental right to privacy, due process, and equal protection rights. It is hard to say where things will go, but this will be a long slog considering how popular same-sex marriage is now, said Josh Blackman, a prominent conservative constitutional scholar and professor at South Texas College of Law. Blackman predicts many members of the Supreme Court's conservative majority would want prospective challenges to Obergefell to percolate in lower courts before revisiting the debate. The court is expected to formally consider Davis's petition this fall during a private conference when the justices discuss which cases to add to their docket. If the case is accepted, it would likely be scheduled for oral argument next spring and decided by the end of June 2026. The court could also decline the case, allowing a lower court ruling to stand and avoid entirely the request to revisit Obergefell. Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett seem wildly uninterested. Maybe Justice Neil Gorsuch, too, says Sarah Isker, an ABC News legal analyst and host of the legal podcast Advisory Opinions. I will say this. I have been straight married for 11 years, going on 12 years, and there's nothing about gay marriage that has impacted my life whatsoever. There's probably a gay person getting married or divorced right now, and I don't know about it because it doesn't impact my life. Like these people that don't want people to get married, just Don't get gay married if you really disagree with it. I've never understood why these busybody Christo-fascists need to be up in everybody's business.
Several gay dating apps say that they will release the confidential names of all Republican congressmen and officials if the Supreme Court decides to overturn their ruling on gay marriage. The Supreme Court has been formally asked to overturn their ruling on same-sex marriage. It's been 10 years since the Supreme Court extended marriage rights to same-sex couples. Kim Davis, the former county clerk in Kentucky, refused to issue a marriage license to a same-sex couple, which she was jailed for 6 days in 2015 for that, which is sparking this request for them to actually rule and consider this rule to be overturned. With that being said, I love a good petty moment. It reported that several gay dating apps are reportedly threatening that if the Supreme Court bans gay marriage, they will reveal all of the closeted Republican officials and members of Congress who have accounts on the platform.
Give me a minute.
If you guys don't remember, during the Republican National Convention, Grindr, a gay dating app, came out and said that their servers crashed because there were so many people on the app.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
If these apps release the members' names, do you know what kind of an uproar this country will be in? Release the names, release the Epstein files, release everything. Release it. Release it.